Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is R.S. Raghu with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds virtual summit with his Bangladesh counterpart, says Bangladesh is a major pillar in India's neighbourhood first policy. Defence Acquisition Council approves proposals worth 27,000 crore rupees to procure equipment from domestic industry. ISRO successfully launches country's communication satellite CMS-01. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 95.31%, and in cricket, India were 233 for 6 against Australia at stumps in the Adelaide day-night test. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that Bangladesh is a major pillar in India's neighbourhood first policy and it has been a special priority for him to strengthen relations with the country. In his opening remarks at the virtual bilateral summit between India and Bangladesh, Mr. Modi said this year has been challenging due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He said it is a matter of satisfaction that there has been good cooperation between India and Bangladesh, whether in medicines, medical equipment or in working with health professionals.
बांग्लादेश हमारी नेबरहुड फर्स्ट नीति का एक प्रमुख स्तंभ है। बांग्लादेश के साथ संबंधों में मजबूती और गहराई लाना मेरे लिए पहले दिन से ही विशेष प्राथमिकता रही है। यह बात सही है कि वैश्विक महामारी के कारण यह वर्ष बहुत ही चुनौतीपूर्ण रहा है, लेकिन संतोष का विषय है कि इस कठिन समय में भारत और बांग्लादेश के बीच अच्छा सहयोग रहा, चाहे वो दवाइयां या मेडिकल इक्विपमेंट हो या फिर हेल्थ प्रोफेशनल के साथ काम करना हो। वैक्सीन के क्षेत्र में भी हमारे बीच अच्छा सहयोग चल रहा है।
The Prime Minister said the relationship between the two countries has continuously moved ahead in other fields as well. He said both the countries have also improved connectivity and this reflects India's commitment to strengthen ties with Bangladesh.
सार्क फ्रेमवर्क के तहत बांग्लादेश के योगदान के लिए मैं आपका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। स्वास्थ्य के अलावा अन्य क्षेत्रों में भी इस वर्ष हमारी विशेष साझेदारी निरंतर आगे बढ़ती रही है। लैंड बॉर्डर ट्रेड में बाधाओं को हमने कम किया, दोनों देशों के बीच कनेक्टिविटी का विस्तार किया, नए साधनों को जोड़ा। यह सब हमारे संबंधों को और अधिक मजबूत करने के हमारे इरादों को दर्शाता है।
Mr. Modi said just a day after Vijay Diwas, today's meeting holds special significance for both countries. He said it is a matter of pride to celebrate Vijay Diwas as a mark of victory over anti-liberation forces.
आज की हमारी मुलाकात और अधिक विशेष महत्व रखती है। एंटी लिबरेशन फोर्सेस पर बांग्लादेश की ऐतिहासिक जीत को आपके साथ विजय दिवस के रूप में मनाना हमारे लिए गर्व की बात है। आज जब बांग्लादेश आजादी के 49 वर्ष मना रहा है, मैं दोनों देशों के शहीदों को जिन्होंने अपने प्राणों की आहुति दी, श्रद्धापूर्वक नमन करता हूं। विजय दिवस के अवसर पर कल मैंने भारत में राष्ट्रीय समर स्मारक में श्रद्धा सुमन अर्पित किए और एक स्वर्णिम विजय मशाल प्रज्वलित करी। ये 4 विजय मशाल पूरे भारत में भ्रमण करेगी और हमारे शहीदों के गांव-गांव ले जाई जाएगी।
At the India-Bangladesh Virtual Summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina jointly inaugurated the Bangabandhu Bapu digital exhibition. The Prime Minister thanked Sheikh Hasina for the opportunity to inaugurate such an auspicious exhibition. The two leaders also jointly inaugurated the Chilahati-Holdibadi rail link between the two countries. A joint statement issued after the summit said both the countries expressed satisfaction over the current state of bilateral relations. It said both the Prime Ministers exchanged views on the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic situation in their countries. Prime Minister Narendra Modi assured that vaccines would be made available to Bangladesh as and when produced in India. India also offered collaboration in therapeutics and partnership in vaccine production. Bangladesh appreciated India's conducting capacity-building courses for medical professionals in Bangla language. It was agreed to jointly organize several activities to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Liberation War and establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Both sides also agreed to hold an early meeting of the Joint Boundary Conference to prepare a new set of strip maps along the stretch of Ichamati, Kalindi, Raimongol and Horiabhanga rivers. The two Prime Ministers agreed to facilitate completion of border fencing in all pending sectors at the international border at the earliest. Recognizing that terrorism remains a threat to global peace and security, both sides reiterated their strong commitment to eliminating terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanked the Bangladesh Prime Minister for supporting India in its election to the United Nations Security Council. Both countries agreed to continue working together towards achieving early reforms of the UN Security Council, combating climate change, attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs), and the protection of the rights of migrants. India and Bangladesh signed 7 MOUs and agreements after the virtual summit between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina today. The agreements include a framework of understanding in the hydrocarbon sector, framework agreement on high-impact community development project, protocol on trans-border elephant conservation, an MOU on the supply of equipment and improvement of garbage and solid waste disposal, MOU in the field of agriculture, an MOU between National Museum Delhi and Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Memorial Museum Dhaka, and terms of reference for India-Bangladesh CEO Forum.
Defence Acquisition Council DAC meeting headed by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today approved proposals to procure equipment worth 27,000 crore rupees from the domestic industry. DAC approved capital acquisition proposals of various weapons, platforms, equipments and systems required by the Indian Army, the Navy and the Air Force at an approximate overall cost of 28,000 crore rupees. Our correspondent reports this was the first meeting of the Council under the new regime of Defence Acquisition Procedure 2020, and this will give a boost to the Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat initiatives of the government. Acquisition proposals approved today include the DRDO designed and developed airborne early warning and control systems for the Indian Air Force, next-generation offshore patrol vessels for the Indian Navy, and modular bridges for the Indian Army. The Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO has successfully launched the country's new communication satellite CMS-01 in the intended orbit in space. The workhorse rocket PSLV-C50 carrying the satellite lifted off from the second launch pad of the Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota, at 15.41 hours as planned. In just about 21 minutes, the launch mission was accomplished and the satellite was injected into the geosynchronous transfer orbit. The ISRO chairman, Dr. K. Sivan, congratulated the team ISRO for the feat and said the solar panels of the payload have been deployed and it has been taken over by the satellite team of the National Space Agency. He said it will be brought to the final orbit by December 21st after a series of the usual maneuvers to render its telecommunication service in the extended C-band.
I am extremely happy to declare that PSLV-C50 successfully injected CMS-01, the communication satellite, in precisely predefined sub-GTO orbit. The satellite is functioning very well, and another 4 days from now, the satellite will be placed in the specified slot in geosynchronous orbit.
A report from our Chennai correspondent.
The success of the mission PSLV-C50 has been achieved by overcoming all the logistical challenges brought by the COVID-19 pandemic. It has paved the way for enhancing the country's communication infrastructure, including in her strategic and far-flung island territories. The next mission using the PSLV-C51 has an interesting feature, as it involves the first ever launch under the recently introduced Space Reforms Initiative, known as the InSpace. The new satellite CMS-01 will take over the mantle from the aging telecommunication satellite GSAT-12 that has outlived its planned operational period by rendering seamless service for a record 11 years. The new satellite CMS-01's intended operational life is 7 years. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the farmers of Madhya Pradesh through a video conference tomorrow during a farmers' welfare program organized by the state government. An amount of approximately 1,600 crore rupees will be transferred to the farmers' accounts under Kisan welfare schemes. Benefits will also be provided to the cattle rearers. The distribution of Kisan credit cards will also be done as part of the program. Farmers will also be provided detailed information about the beneficial provisions of the new agricultural laws in the Sammelan. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan will participate in the state-level main event in Raisen. In other districts, ministers will distribute relief amounts to the farmers during the program. Similar programs will also be held at the block and rural level. About 1,000 farmers will take part in the Sammelans from each district. A report from our Bhopal correspondent.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the farmers of the state through video conferencing tomorrow. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan said that the state-level farmer welfare event is being organized in Raisen district of Madhya Pradesh. Program will be telecast live in almost all the villages and districts of the state.
लगभग 1600 करोड़ रुपए की राशि 35 लाख किसानों के खाते में डालना हम कल से प्रारंभ कर रहे हैं राहत की राशि का। लेकिन उसके साथ साथ हम 2000 पशुपालक और मछली पालकों को केसीसी का वितरण भी करेंगे। कृषि विकास योजना और अन्य योजनाओं के अंतर्गत लोकार्पण शिलान्यास के काम भी होंगे और तीनों किसान कानून जो माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने भारत सरकार ने बनाए हैं उनकी जानकारी किसानों को देंगे और उनको जागरूक करेंगे।
Chief Minister Shri Chauhan informed that around 20,000 farmers will attend the program. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds virtual summit with his Bangladesh counterpart, says Bangladesh is a major pillar in India's neighborhood first policy. Defence Acquisition Council approves proposals worth 27,000 crore rupees to procure equipment from domestic industry. ISRO successfully launches country's communication satellite CMS-01. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 95.31%. And in cricket, India were 233 for 6 against Australia at stumps in the Adelaide Day-Night Test. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे।
Welcome back. India has crossed a significant milestone in its fight against COVID. With a continuous decline in the number of active corona cases, the active caseload in the country today has further decreased to stand at 3.24%. The active cases in the country witnessed a decline of nearly 9,600 cases in the past 24 hours to stand at around 3,22,000. The number of new daily cases remained below 25,000, with nearly 24,000 cases being reported in the last 24 hours. This is one of the lowest new daily cases reported in the last 4 months. The national cumulative recovery rate has also further improved to 95.31%, with recovery of over 94,89,000 people so far. Nearly 11,59,000 COVID samples were tested in the country in the last 24 hours. With this, the cumulative testing figure has reached around 15 crore 78 lakh. India's indigenous coronavirus vaccine, Covaxin, has shown to generate robust immune response in its first phase clinical trials. A detailed immunogenicity response of the first phase trials of the vaccine has been declared by the manufacturers. Covaxin, jointly developed by Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech and ICMR, has been found to be safe, generating no serious adverse effects in people of all dose groups As per the results of the first phase clinical trials, ICMR has informed that the vaccine can be stored at 2 and 8 degrees centigrade temperatures, which also makes it compatible with the National Immunization Plan.
Meghalaya reported 69 new COVID-19 cases today, taking the active cases to 686. The state also registered 70 recoveries, bringing the number of recovered cases to 12,322. Directorate of Health Services informed that there are 13,141 confirmed COVID-19 cases, out of which 686 are active. 133 people lost their lives to the disease. There are 22 containment zones across the state. Amid COVID-19 pandemic, Kerala government has announced the date of 10th and 12th state board exams. A report from our Thiruvananthapuram correspondent.
The 10th Standard SSLC examination and 12th Standard Higher Secondary and Vocational Higher Secondary examinations would begin from March 17th and would end on March 30th, 2021. The exam dates were decided in the high-level meeting chaired by Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan. The authorities informed that the examination would be conducted in strict compliance with COVID-19 norms. The students of class 10th and 12th can visit their schools from January 1st to clear the doubts and for practical classes. The state government further decides to reopen colleges for the last year graduate and postgraduate courses in the state from January 1st onwards. The Education Department has directed the colleges to resume classes from New Year with 50% attendance. All agricultural, fisheries colleges and medical colleges from second year will resume classes from January 1st, following strict COVID protocols. Mayusha for AR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
Maharashtra Health Minister Rajesh Tope today said that the state government has decided to include corona disease in the reimbursement of medical expenses given to government officials and employees. A report from our Mumbai correspondent.
The state government officials, employees and their family members are reimbursed for the medical expenses incurred if they are treated in a private hospital for accidental or serious illness. As per the decision announced by the state government in March 2005, 27 emergency and 5 serious illnesses such as diseases related to the heart and lungs were included in it. According to the decision taken by the state government today, now the medical cost of corona treatment will also be included in it. The state government said attendance in government offices was increased from 2nd September during the corona pandemic. Therefore, it said that today's decision will be implemented with retrospective effect from 2nd September 2020. Sweetie Jane, AR News, Mumbai.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today called for making agriculture climate resilient, profitable and sustainable. Addressing the 41st convocation of the Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Mr. Naidu highlighted the importance of developing crops that can withstand drought, flood and diseases. He emphasized the need to ensure remunerative prices to farmers and food and nutritional security to people. Saluting farmers for displaying indomitable spirit and dedication during COVID-19, Mr. Naidu emphasized on developing stress-resistant varieties along with climate adaptation strategies to increase the resilience of Indian agriculture and making it sustainable. The Minister for Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare, Narendra Singh Tomar, has said the agricultural reforms brought in the interest of farmers will form the foundation of a new chapter in Indian agriculture. He said they will make the country's farmers more independent and empowered. In his letter to farmers today, Mr. Tomar said the Narendra Modi government, moving ahead with the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, has tried to serve everyone without any discrimination. He said the history of the last 6 years is witness to it. The Agriculture Minister said he has been in touch with the farmers' organizations and many organizations have welcomed the reforms and expressed happiness. He said many farmers have started taking benefits of the new laws, but confusion has been created among farmers. Mr. Tomar said, as the Agriculture Minister, it is his responsibility to clear the confusion. He expressed satisfaction that all records of procurement by the government on MSP were broken after the implementation of the new laws. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar has expressed his feelings by writing a letter to the farmer brothers and sisters and tried to have a dialogue. Mr. Modi requested all farmers to read it and also urged the countrymen to make it reach as many people as possible.
Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath today alleged that the opposition is misguiding farmers about the recent farm laws, as these laws don't give any right to any person to occupy farmers' land. He was speaking to the farmers directly in Kisan Samvad rally organized by Bharatiya Janata Party in Bareilly district today. AIR correspondent reports that Union Minister Santosh Gangwar was also addressed farmers and told them the benefits of the agriculture reforms. The farmer conclaves are being organized across the state by state BJP unit to make the farmers aware about the benefits of the farm laws. The BJP has accused Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal of resorting to opportunistic politics over the farm laws. At a media briefing in New Delhi, BJP MP Meenakshi Lekhi said the Aam Aadmi Party government notified the 3 farm laws in Delhi Gazette on 23rd of last month. But now they are tearing the copies of the same act in Delhi Assembly, which reflects their opportunism. This incident took place at a special session of Delhi Assembly held today.
In our special series, Year-End 2020 today, we bring you a report on how the NDA government has strengthened internal security under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Zero tolerance towards terrorism and various initiatives of security forces on left-wing extremism front are achieving the target of making India a developed and safe nation. Home Minister Amit Shah stressed that internal and external security is crucial for India to become a $5 trillion economy.
मोदी जी $5 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी में देश को ले जाना चाहते हैं और हम सबको भरोसा है कि मोदी जी का जिस प्रकार का नेतृत्व है देश जरूर वहां पहुंचेगा, परंतु वहां पहुंचने के लिए निहायत जरूरी है कि कानून और व्यवस्था की स्थिति को हम बरकरार रखें और बेहतर बनाते जाएं, चाहे वो आंतरिक सुरक्षा हो चाहे बाह्य सुरक्षा। मैं बीपीआरएनडी के सभी साथियों को कहना चाहता हूं कि ये जो चुनौतियां हैं वो चुनौतियों के लिए पुलिस बल को सुसज्ज करने में आपकी अहम भूमिका है।
Speaking to AIR News, former Director General of Police of Jharkhand, Vishnu Dayal Ram, said the overall security situation ranging from northeast to Jammu and Kashmir and Naxal-affected areas has improved in the country in the recent past.
उत्तर पूर्व के राज्यों में हमेशा समस्याएं होते रहती थी। विधि व्यवस्था को लेकर के नागा में जो निवासी हैं सभी में हमेशा झगड़ा हुआ करता था। बर्मा से सटे जो एरिया है उसमें हमेशा समस्या बनी रहती थी। जो प्रयास किया गया सरकार के द्वारा उसी प्रयास का प्रतिफल है कि बर्मा बॉर्डर भी अभी शांत है और असम के क्षेत्र में भी शांति बनी हुई है। जो सरकारें हैं बिना किसी बाधा के चल रही हैं, तो ओवरऑल अभी जो स्थिति है वो बहुत ही सही है।
We have more from our correspondent.
2020 has been marked by a concerted and coordinated approach within the different arms of national security apparatus, from capacity building of police forces to deal with disasters and emergencies and transforming the man in khaki to a people-friendly force as witnessed during COVID-19 pandemic bear a testimony to their work. Newly carved UTs of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh have seen large turnout of voters in the local council elections, which augurs well for a better and brighter future. De-radicalization program in Dantewada for the surrendered left-wing extremists and coordinated action with states to check the LWE menace have yielded positive results. Cybercrime against citizens is another area where government is working overtime. Insurgency in the northeastern state has been stemmed thanks to the pro-people initiatives by the centre. Home Ministry has supported the states extensively in controlling the spread of the extremism by deploying Central Armed Police Forces battalions, providing choppers, unmanned aerial vehicles and other support systems, access to amenities and the facilities by the construction of roads, installation of mobile towers, skill development, expanding networks of banks and post offices, health and education in Naxal-infested areas are showing visible results on the ground. It has been a work in progress which has bolstered internal security with Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas at its core. With Subhagyakar, Anupam Mish, AIR News, Delhi.
Mumbai Police today arrested the former Chief Operating Officer COO of the Broadcast Audience Research Council BARC in connection with the alleged TRP or television rating points rigging case. A police official informed that Romil Ramgarhia, former COO of the BARC, was arrested in the afternoon by a team of Mumbai Crime Branch after his alleged involvement in the case came to light during the probe. The official added that he would be produced before a local court. The much-awaited international mission led by the World Health Organization (WHO) is expected to go to China in the first week of January to investigate the origins of the novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 that triggered the COVID-19 pandemic. Chinese Foreign Ministry did not directly comment on the WHO visit, but said it stands ready to enhance its cooperation with the WHO to advance the global tracing efforts and to contribute China's share in an early victory against the pandemic.
Benchmark domestic stocks today continued their rally of setting fresh records as they gained around 0.5% even as the global cues were mixed. A report from the Business World.
Sensex surged 224 points or 0.48% to finish at 46,890 and the NSE Nifty 50 index climbed 58 points or 0.42% to settle at 13,741. On the other hand, the broader market at the BSE fell marginally. The mid-cap index slipped 0.13% while the small-cap index ended 0.23% down. In the forex market, the rupee today remained flat at 73 rupees and 59 paise against the US dollar. And in intraday trade, Brent crude prices were trading around $51.30 per barrel, while WTI crude prices were around $48 per barrel. V. Ravi Kumar for AIR News.
In cricket, India were 233 for 6 against Australia at stumps in the first day-night test of the 4-match series in Adelaide. Virat Kohli played a patient captain's knock of 74 and Rahane and Pujara gave him able support with gritty knocks of 42 and 43. Australian pacers bowled with a lot of venom. Mitchell Starc, in his very first over of the day, bowled an incoming delivery which kept opener Prithvi Shaw at bay and uprooted his off-stump. Mayank Agarwal also got out of a very sharp off-cutter from Pat Cummins. Later, India's middle order showed character and stabilized the ship, amassing a formidable total on the green top turf.
North India is reeling under cold wave conditions. Lowest minimum temperature of 0.5 degrees Celsius was recorded in Sikar in East Rajasthan. According to the India Meteorological Department, IMD, cold wave to severe cold wave conditions are very likely in some pockets over Punjab, Haryana and Chandigarh, West Uttar Pradesh and North Rajasthan during the next 3 days. The Met Department has forecast fall in minimum temperatures by 3 to 5 degrees Celsius over East Madhya Pradesh, Vidarbha and Chhattisgarh, between 4 to 6 degrees Celsius over East India during the next 3 days, and by 2 to 3 degrees Celsius over West India during the next 48 hours. Talking to AIR News, IMD spokesperson R.K. Jainamani said the same conditions will prevail for the next 2 to 3 days.
Over our national capital region, including Delhi, for last 2 to 3 days, the temperature has consistently fallen. Particularly today, the temperature is between 3 to 5 degrees over different location of Delhi area. So night temperature. So Delhi is under the grip of cold wave, and it will continue for next 2 to 3 days.
Cold wave conditions have also been prevailing in Uttarakhand today. According to the Met Department, in Dehradun, ground frost is likely to occur at isolated places in the state. Cold conditions are likely to prevail in some parts of Haridwar and Udham Singh Nagar districts in the next 24 hours. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital will experience cold day with temperatures varying between 4 and 19 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky and temperature will vary between 22 and 33. Chennai is likely to have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Temperature will hover between 24 and 30 degrees. Kolkata is likely to have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Temperature is likely to vary between 14 and 25. Onto the north, Jammu will have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Temperature will hover between 3 and 18. Srinagar is likely to have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening, with temperatures hovering between -6 and 10 degrees. In Leh, there will be partly cloudy sky and temperature will vary between -15 degrees and 1 degree. Gilgit will have a mainly clear sky with temperature varying between -6 degrees Celsius and 10 degrees. Muzaffarabad will witness mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening, and temperature will vary between 3 and 15 degrees Celsius. Dehradun will witness fog in the morning, mainly clear sky later with temperature hovering between 4 and 21 degrees. Chandigarh will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Temperature in the city will hover between 5 and 90 degrees Celsius. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds virtual summit with his Bangladesh counterpart, says Bangladesh is a major pillar in India's neighbourhood first policy. Defence Acquisition Council approves proposals worth 27,000 crore rupees to procure equipment from domestic industry. ISRO successfully launches country's communication satellite CMS-01. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 95.31%, and in cricket, India were 233 for 6 against Australia at Stumps in the Adelaide Day-Night Test. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.